I grew up in Hamilton, Ontario, in a working class neighborhood. In some ways, I never felt I fit in, really. Where I felt very different was in high school because I had no friends. I can remember being kicked and pushed into a mud puddle, spit on. I think it's marked me even to this day, many decades later, even walking down the street sometimes with my husband. There's just that little tiny bit sometimes of fear that still haunts me a little bit. Way back in the early 1950s, when I was quite young, there was no talk about homosexuality. I didn't understand that there was such a thing, and I didn't know that somebody could be gay. I knew very early on I was attracted to the same sex, but my thinking, my naive thinking way back then, was that when I got married, that would all go away, and I'd fall in love with a woman and we'd live happily ever after, kind of Hollywood thing. I visited my grandfather in the hospital. It was probably around 1969, 1970. And there was a copy there of Life magazine. I didn't want anyone seeing me taking it or even reading it. But it was like, for the first time I realized, maybe I'm not alone. Maybe there are other people in the world like me. When I thought about coming out any earlier, I looked in the mirror and thought, well, if I come out, what I am is I could be arrested and put in prison for what I am. I could be put into a mental hospital for what I am. I hated who I was because I felt I was never really my true self with people. But then I thought, if I really said who I was, I would be rejected likely. That people wouldn't want me in their lives. It's really important, I think, what the United Way does in helping to fund, for instance, the Ottawa Seniors Pride Network, is that we do provide training to sensitize healthcare workers who work with seniors that LGBT people may have certain needs. They might not seek care, and that's exacerbated often by the fact that they don't have children to support them, for instance. It's very hard if you're on your own, period. But I think if you're LGBT, it's a greater challenge. My journey has been one of surprise, delight, sorrow, fear. But I think what I've learned is that whether I'm gay or not isn't really the central issue. It's living my values and living what's true to me.